horse drifted alarmingly in the betting was, Felsted in the morning, continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Buttons.
The ground is soft. It's not.
It's heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Hello, big one, welcome. It's the Bar Stewards Inquiry Sunday sermon. Looking forward to this one. It's not really a big news week as such, but I'm just happy to be with my two cohorts talking rubbish for the next 45, 50 minutes or so. John and Chris, good evening, chaps.
Good evening.
Hello, everyone.
And a good evening to the BHA as well, who I know are listening. We love you.
We do love the BHA.
We do love them. Let's hear it for the BHA. Love them.
Yeah. Not too loud there.
I'm almost stood up to attention.
Yeah.
I just need to rub it a bit more.
Yeah, just show some due respect. They're a serious organisation, so show a little bit of decorum.
Yeah. We have to toe the line on these things, don't we? Right.
Yes. More fucking letters. Yeah, fucking hell. They're running out of postage stamps, aren't
they? The BHA do love a letter, don't
they? They do. And they love us too, don't they?
They do.
Even more than a letter.
They do. The ultimate support for the Bar Stewards
Inquiry.
Yeah. They endorse what we say.
No, they don't. For legal reasons, they don't endorse anything we say. Fucking hell. I've got fuck all and plenty of it. I don't want less.
I thought I'd do that just to get you flapping your wings.
Yeah, I know, terrible. Yeah, you know what to do. Yeah, put more in. Yeah. Anyway.
We'll look at the review of yesterday and see what me and John think in terms of certain rides, certain horses. There wasn't a lot happening yesterday in terms of top classness or anything like that. Inspiring, very impressive. Yeah, boring. Impressive in a Sun Chariot. Got the run of the race. Everything worked, panned out lovely. The Tory rides his 500 winners there at Newmarket. Yawn. We're not going about that. So Zulu Chief, John, in the sales room. Everyone's convinced that this Safi... Was it Safi on it?
No, 201. Gina.
Oh, Gina Mangan. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm blaming Safi. Yeah, Gina Mangan got the older fractions wrong on Zulu Chief. There is some credence to that. 34.87 for the first three furlongs and a 21.28 for the second and third was probably over egging. However, I genuinely looking at the watching the video, looking at the timing, I don't believe that even if she'd have gone a little bit calmer, furlongs 2 and 3, she'd have beaten the winner.
Maybe not.
Not on that anyway.
Well, the winner makes everything else impressive, didn't it?
Yes, so people moaning and saying that was a lung-bursting ride. Well, to be fair, it was lung-bursting at York. And maybe we ought to look at the fact that Heather Main has now gone 33 runners without a winner, and her last winner was Zulu Chief at York.
I think the explanation's a little bit simpler myself. I think the fact that York's flat and the last 2/3 of the furlong at Newmarket are uphill.
Yeah,
probably a bit of burning on it.
I agree. John, I was about to come on to that I genuinely think Zulu... You've seen what York does if you get out and away. Live the Dream is another example. Ran at Keeneland last night and got beat. People are saying it ran promising, lung busting early fractions, led the Americans and then got tired late. I would say watching Live the Dream last night that I don't think it's enough class to win a Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint on that. I think it's just York form. If you get on Bunny and you're on right side at track at York, you're very hard to peg back. And I just think that's what happened in the Nunthorpe. I think...
Yeah, I don't know about Batman. I don't think Silverman could get that to win a Breeders' Cup Sprint.
No, we're against that after last night at Keeneland, for sure. So Zulu Chief, I think was... I agree. I know what people are saying. There's been a lot of people on Twitter comment on it saying that it was terrible assessment of fractions from Gina Mangan. I would be a little bit... I'd downplay that a little bit. I'd still say, yes, she's gone too fast, but I don't think it was the reason for the defeat. I think it's like what John said, the last uphill bit, and the fact the winner you've got to give credit for. It's come home rapid. It's a worthy winner, and I think even if she'd have got fractions right, John, should have been second.
Yeah, more than lately.
Yeah. So we'll move on from that. We've had questions on Twitter. Thank you for all your questions this week, by the way. Jim Crowley couple of stinkers that from what people are saying on Nakib and Al-Azi. John, what were your thoughts on Jim's ride on those two?
Well, he couldn't have dished more stinkers out if he'd eaten 3 stone of sprouts, could he?
And stuffing.
and stuffing, yeah.
Stuffing does me, John.
Does
Stuffing,
it?
Neither horse was presented with any chance to win either race, was it?
The one with Al-Azi, John, I thought he was too close to the inside all the way around. I didn't think that was the place to be.
Well, you could see where the front two kept off it, didn't they?
Yeah. And and if you think about it, logically, as a jockey, which these idiots on top are really funny, if they come in sort of like stand side on the straight course, right, it means that the inside's shit. And usually, as we know, the 12 furlong draws at the Royal Meeting, we're all saying you don't want an inside draw.
Yeah, so of course Jim stays miles back on the inside, which, I mean, you're not in a position to cover any moves. You're not in a position where you're on the best ground. I mean, I don't think he's ridden well since he came back from the ban, to be honest.
No.
He's showing enough brain power to suggest his brain is so small that if a hungry cannibal cracked his skull open, it wouldn't cover a small water biscuit.
That's a very odd reference.
That is a weird one. It's like, I mean, my granddad used to say if his brains are made of dynamite, it wouldn't have enough to blow his cap off. But the thing for me with Jim is he the curse of the famous, if you ride for Sheikh Hamdan, well, now it's, of course, Sheikh Ahissa.
You go to shit.
They just all go rubbish.
I don't think Tony Murray did.
Well, he were probably last one, John.
Yeah, everybody else did. No, Carson, I suppose, wasn't shit. Wasn't totally shit. He was like this podcast.
Yes. Yeah, actually, he was. Yeah. Carson. I'll get Carson. A miserable fucker, though, and a tight
Yeah. Didn't change
it's funny that any jockey that gets on Question of Sport, like Frankie and Carson, they all laugh on Question of Sport, but we know that behind the scenes they're miserable, horrible bastards.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like us. We're really cheerful in real life, aren't we? Optimistic with a sunny disposition. This is all scripted.
The thing with jockeys on shows like that, they have to laugh at jokes about them being short, as though they've never heard them before, don't they?
They do.
The sports people joke about, with them being as thick as pig shit,
It's an awful programme, that Question of Sport.
Desperate,
fucking the worst thing.
Of the thick, don't you?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I liked it with Sue Barker.
Back in the day, Gareth Edwards.
Fucking do me a favour.
Did you like it?
Billy Beaumont and all that. Remember Emily Hughes?
Oh, Cabbages, Bill Beaumont, yeah.
Yeah, fucking shit. Oh my God. I bet you liked Superstars in the 1970s, didn't you? He always won it. Didn't he? Fucking shit up every time.
Yeah, because they used to fiddle it, give him like squat. They used to be like, if they were level on points, last challenger bit squats.
Yeah, or dips or something.
Yeah,
it's like a million.
She'd be going against like Jeff Capes or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, giant haystacks and do some pull-ups. Yeah, always crooked that was. And no one outside of Superstars knew who Brian Jacks was. He was like a professional Superstars athlete, wasn't he?
It could have been a lot different if Kagan hadn't fallen off his bike.
And skinned his back. I still remember that. Oh.
What great memories. Yeah. This is proper programming. Anyway, we've gone on to Superstars now. But talking of Superstars, Jack Mitchell doesn't exactly fill Superstars quality. We had a question on this from a listener on Twitter, thank you. And he said that it was quite funny actually. How on earth has Jack Mitchell got the box seat in Trap 18 and ended up in the Soup, John?
He'd have negotiated that race better if he'd been travelling through a tunnel full of pig shit at 100 miles an hour, wouldn't he?
But
David Blaine, I mentioned this on Twitter, David Blaine couldn't have made that horse a pay where it did at the furlong pole.
No.
It was unbelievable. Was it Jack Mitchell that rode Papa Cocktail at York?
Good question. Don't know. You can do a check if you want now. Then you can just chime in and go, yeah.
I think it was, Oh dear, I mean, you worry, don't you? You know for a fact now he's not up to the job when you need somebody to ride to and draw advantage or on a holder horse.
Let's
You know it's not going to happen for you.
let's be fair. Are any of them that's riding at the moment?
Most
Honestly,
of them, not. No.
I mean, I do love Ryan Moore. I think Ryan Moore he's like what you call a generation jockey, where you get one or two of that ilk in a generation.
Yeah.
The same applies to Frankie, even though his farewell tour is nauseating. And we all know that Frankie's not retiring, that he's going to be riding in King Kong. He's going to be riding in California, probably for Silver Air Bob.
It'd probably turn out in the Ledge of Legends as well.
Yeah.
No, I'll make a prediction now, because we ate Tony Ansell's of this world. Game by the kahunas. Frankie will be riding at Royal Ascot next year on something. I'm not saying he's going to have a full book of rides, but I will have anyone a side bet now.
Bingo will fly him over to ride the 2-year-olds.
Yeah, there'll be something. There'll be some kind of Frankie's come here for a one-off ride on this, or it will be this. Yeah, it's bollocks. Everyone's totally fucking fed up of it. Like,
Bingo will be there with teeth, won't he?
Yeah. Banana splits. Yeah. Most jockeys just retire, don't they? Samuel the Cat made a mention about like jockeys retiring, and Paul Hannigan retires and ends up in a racing TV role, and he's helping Craig Lidster out with the old training. But that's the Richard Fahey connection, so I'd have expected something like that, unless he'd gone back to the scaffolder. I'd have expected that, but I didn't. John, his punditry was terrible. Did you hear it?
Well, I don't know what Racing TV expected when they employed the beige Power Ranger to do the commentaries and analysis of the races. I don't think he's ever said anything remotely controversial in his life. I mean, what were they expecting to get? Ruby Walsh will sleep easy at night, won't he, I'm afraid?
In terms of punditry, it's extremely poor. And, we talk about racings. We all know that football do it. They get ex-players as pundits. But you usually have to cut the mustard. You have to offer something. You can't. I mean, George Baker, John, he puts everyone to sleep, doesn't he? Like glass eyes fall to sleep.
I want to send him a box of tissues. He always sounds like he's full of snot tonight.
Yeah. Makes medicine sick, doesn't he? Fucking hell. He is boring now. Poor son.
Yeah. It is. It's not very good. I mean, you can do better than
He's
that.
in the Dale Gibson class of pertinent analysis, isn't he?
The Skull.
Yeah.
That were one of the best racing nicknames ever, which we'll come on to later in the show in the Mr. Men section. But the Skull, I used to love that. I mean, because he had a skull, he had a cranium, like it was like one of them ancient aliens things, Like...
Yeah, fucking that.
It looked like his helmet was under his skin, didn't it?
Yeah, it's like Area 41. We've got a runner, haven't we?
Yeah. The Skull. Good old Dale Gibson back in the day. Moving on, King Kong jockey time. Yes, the King Kongers know what they're doing, don't they? Incredible, this. It sounds like John Lang is in charge of like Hong Kong stewarding here, and John's had like 2 or 3 grand on this. Right, because listen to this. So Vincent He, who rode in this race in Hong Kong, he's got a 5-week suspension, which is 10 meetings, for failing to ride out his mount, Capital Delight, when dead eating for first place. I watched the ride. I don't know how you come to that conclusion unless you bet it. It was so basically the Hong Kong stewards had applied dynamic stewarding, John, where it wasn't a case of, oh, well, you didn't make sufficient effort. It's a you should have won.
Well, I'm making the sound of this dynamic stewarding.
Yeah.
It's like imagine this. It's never happened in this country, surely. Like a dead eaten horse.
It needs to happen and sharpish. I mean, think how many riders you can stand down in a day. You should have won.
You would love this.
The words dynamic and stewarding don't belong in the same sentence, though, do
Not
they?
in this country.
No, quite.
No, it's very poor. I mean, we were victim of that this week, John, in a national hunt race in Ireland at Downpatrick, when, of course, a horse called Silver King, right, the Jimmy Lindley column returns right now. This is the lovely pair of hands. Philip Enright on Silver King, going down the back. Silver King jumping lovely in a beautiful position just behind the pace. The leaders say, right, now's the time to quicken. Philip says, no, it's not the time to quicken. It's the time not to move my hands at all.
I thought he had back spasm.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but if that was in Hong Kong, the lad would be kicked out of Hong Kong like in 24 hours. That was embarrassing. Like, honestly, I watched it down the back.
Fucking chop suey, wouldn't it?
I couldn't believe what I was watching.
He'd be number 17 on the menu, wouldn't he, John?
I thought he's pulling up.
Yeah, I did. I thought the horse had gone wrong. I thought, the horse must have gone wrong here or something, or he's not happy.
Where was the dynamic stewarding?
Yeah, I know. We needed dynamic stewards
in Hong Kong.
Yeah, to dangle Philip Enright off a very high perch somewhere, mountain-wise. Anyway, but this is what's wrong, I think. We've got very inadequate stewarding, we've got very inadequate policing of the sport, and this is where it needs to improve, because I'm sorry, if you can do that on a 5-2 fav as blatant as that, just the game's just not worth it. Coming on to the next topic then, this leads in nicely to this. Irish Raiders on UK races. The Good Doctor. We always said that we used to have, they used to say the Good Doctor was Kukash. I mean, what a... That was McNair. That was the captain used to the Good Doctor for Kukash. I mean, so I had to invent the real Good Doctor, which is Dr. Newland, because he had the carrots. A national winning trainer. And he's complained this week about Irish Raiders. He says, I've mentioned this to the BHA, but they seem remarkably unaware.
Well, that's complete bollocks, as we know. He needs to take a long, hard look at himself, I think, before he makes
I think so.
Like
how on earth, Dr. David Newell, how can you say the BHA are remarkably unaware?
Absolute rubbish. He's an out-of-touch racehorse trainer. That's all he is.
Outrageous statement.
Yeah. Stand in the corner and have a think about what you've just said.
I mean, trainers and hot air are supposed to go together, but I mean, we've just seen one vaporise there, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do we sit there on Irish Raiders in low-grade racing? I mean, during COVID, the pandemic rubbish, they stopped Irish Raiders coming over, for reasons obviously due to the pandemic.
They can't stop them coming over because they're too fucking good for us, though, can't they?
Well, that's it. I mean, this is my stance on it. Am I in favour of it? Not particularly, but the reason being a different probably to what most other people's reasons are. Like freedom of competition, of course Irish runners should be able to run in where they like and where they come across. We can go over there if we want to. So why on a... It's just the fact that for a fact, and I'm talking from a betting perspective here, why do I want to fucking back in a race when Noel Kelly sends one over and it's 5-2 on the overnight tissue? Will it be 5-2 or will it be fucking 28? I suppose you could say that about British trainers also. It's not just an Irish thing.
Not really. Yeah, I mean, but I know what you mean. It is. They're just cleverer, I think, personally.
They're better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're better. Let's put it simply.
Ireland National Hunt is miles better than British.
They're better. They're better trainers. Yeah, that's it. End of. So why would you want to bet where you don't know whether it's off for its life or out for the sea air?
I wouldn't necessarily say better trainers. I just think they just get better stock.
Yeah,
they buy the better stock.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe it's more than that. But either way, they are more successful for whatever reason.
A benter.
For the benefit of the tape, I disassociate myself from these comments. I was not given prior knowledge of any of these remarks.
I haven't named... Right, it cannot be libelous because I haven't named an incumbent. I've just said...
No, you haven't. Absolutely
Irish trainers are benter in general.
You have slurred them en masse. An entire nation you've slurred. That's even worse. Even more offensive. Grossly offensive to coin a phrase. It's grossly offensive to coin a phrase.
Well, listen to my Irish guy on Edge. that advises me. I mean, the stuff that, obviously he sends me privately and I can't put out there. And literally, yeah, it's tricky.
Tricky is a good word, yes. Complex.
It's a complex situation.
Yeah, cultural sensitivities as well.
So come on, you two. What is your position on Irish Raiders in low grade racing, UK racing? You okay with it?
Yeah, absolutely.
John?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Okay.
I want lot instead of moaning about it. Yeah.
By the way, love one of the best Twitter accounts I think for racing is Fergal O'Brien's Twitter. I think it's a brilliant Twitter account. It cheers me up following it, and there's not many.
Only because you like pictures of cake. That's why.
There's cake.
Didn't they?
There's cake. I love it. They're a very honest yard, and like the thing for me differentiates them from everyone else is their engagement with the public.
Yes.
They're not aloof, as you said, Chris, to oiks.
Great unwashed, yeah. Rude mechanicals, yes.
And they're open, and they've even opened up to people with mental health difficulties and said, "Look, come to Ravenswell and come and spend a morning at our yard." What a team that is! They deserve more great owners. So that's a plug there for Fergal O'Brien. But I disagreed with them when they said,
"You let us down if we let a break."
What the fuck? They'd have to hide all the cake, you fat bastards, wouldn't they? Fuck me, I'd be putting it in the safe. We can't hold the door anymore. Okay, now
the thing for me though, the yard, like I said, so engaging, but also on the downside, the comment he said once, or the Twitter account said once, that they were actually gutted no Irish Raiders were allowed in bottom end races, and I'm thinking, are you mad? Are you clinically insane? I mean, you train a yard probably of 100 you've got handicappers rated 90s, 100s. What do you want? Gordon Elliott, Noel Kelly, numerous other Irish trainers sending the Shark, James John Fiend, sending horses over to butcher your best laid plans. It's the last thing I'd want as a punter, Chris. Imagine. So you own one in Fergal's, you've got one about a Stonewell in, it's DJ, and Noel Kelly put one in.
Oh dear. Yes, that would be problematic, wouldn't it? Yeah. I mean, that's mad, isn't it? But from a punting point of view, I'm quite, fine. Let people. But you wouldn't. Why would you support that? You really wouldn't, would you?
No, I'm just saying as a punter. In terms of competition, it's up to
for grabs.
It's up to British trainers to up the game and do what they need to do. Stop moaning and saying, "Oh well, they're winning everything." Well, basically, get your horses better handicap. Then you may as well all play the game like they do, and
be a good early season, wouldn't it? Everything getting beat by a furlong and a half.
This is what the game handicaps encourage that behaviour. It's like playing Monopoly, and once you get the stations and you own Park Lane and Mayfair and the utility companies, you're unbeatable. Don't matter what anyone owns after that, you can't lose. Eventually, someone lands on your big square and has to pay big time, and that's it. That's life. It's just a fact of life, and I think that's British trainers need to get a grip of, and if that's what the system encourages, well, get everything off. Get everything as lowly handicapped as the Irish do. The Irish are masters at building a horse up and winning handicaps off lowly marks and getting them then into festival class. That's what they do. It's all about the long-term plan. And I just think some of maybe our trainers just aren't as good, not as shrewd. I think that's it. So go and watch Snatch and bet against Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Do you want to bet the hair or the ground? When they're betting, the last thing I want to do is bet a pikey, but he has to do it, and he loses. He bets the hair gets fucked and the hair don't get fucked. There you go. Godolphin, Appleby. What a terrible year. There's an interesting tweet put out, and I'll give him full credit for this, because unlike other podcasts, we don't pinch things. Emmett Kennedy of the Final Furlong podcast did some terrific research on Godolphin in terms of investment and return, and it was something like they spent 29 million on their 2-year-olds this year and only got back 135,000 in prize money, which is obviously a shocking return. 41 2-year-olds over Europe, so it's not just Appleby, but it's 41 2-year-olds over Europe. Charlie Appleby himself has had a dreadful year. in not at the basic level in maidens and the shit races. I'm talking about the top level. Still, John, he's yet to train a Group 1 winner in the UK, to my knowledge, other than the Lockinge. That's terrible, isn't it?
Well, forgive me, but I say this as Godolphin returning to form, because they had that little golden period, didn't they, 3 or 4 years? You knocked a derby off. But I mean, prior to that, we'd had pretty much 30 years of Colmar smashing them sideways. I genuinely believe that little spell that they had was not the norm. I think we're returning to normality, because I don't think they're a good outfit.
Right, the stats are Modern Games is the only Group 1 winner, obviously, in the Lockinge. They've not had many fancied runners, to be fair. They've had to retire a DR.
Which in itself is a disgrace.
Is it the training methods? Why are they having to geld a lot of their horses, the 2-year-olds, etc.? The ones that they buy.
They're probably buying a lot of Ponzi's because they don't know what they're looking at. Colmar isn't one man going to the sales. I mean, there's a team of them, and they're all Irishmen, proper horsemen. Sheikh Mohammed, as we all tend to agree, has made a very good job of surrounding himself with yes men. Somebody somewhere allowed him to buy Palace episodes back in the day. An organisation that says, couldn't somebody have spoke up and said, what the fuck are you thinking about?
What was the Irish? What was the Carl Burke horse they spent a lot of money on? Can you remember? And the Irish Derby.
Oh God, yeah, and the pink and red colours.
And they paid about I believe it was 5 million for it. And
it's just horrendous.
Whoever makes these decisions, I don't think. Well, like you say, they surround themselves by yes men, yes sir, 3 bags full sir, and that's the problem. That the buying record appears to be very poor.
It's strange, you know. I would say, unlike other organisations, no matter how much you dig, you cannot find an employee who slags the top of the organisation. That's all. I mean, honest to God, when we were down there in May, admittedly it wasn't anything to do with the racing side, it was for the fast start. Everyone we talked to talked in glowing terms of the top of the organisation, glowing terms. And there must have known at the time that we're in for a shit season. You could not get a word of dissent out of anybody, which is very unusual, unless there's a gaffer standing over them, and but not a word.
Is there a greater problem for them, like with Jabawi, maybe on the wane?
Well, any problems are of their own making, aren't they? Because stallions are available. So if they don't want to use particular Colmar stallions, that's just stubbornness and stupidity, isn't it?
Yeah, they're not using them. They're not.
Yeah, stubbornness and stupidity, isn't it?
They have used No Nay Nevers, but we've also highlighted that No Nay Nevers don't particularly train on very well. But in general, they're using Frankel, Kingman, Siuni.
Kingman, you're never going to really get your ground now in this country, are you? Frankel throws his share of temperamental sorts. I mean, he wouldn't have got a claim very well temperamentally wise himself. So if you've got a batch of road mares that's a bit fizzy, you could be breathing into a whole pack of trouble there, couldn't you? I don't know. To me, he needs a new racing manager that's going to do a bit of plain speaking to him.
Well, Dusty Binns matched Appleby. He's won a classic this year with about. He only trains a dozen horses.
I was going to say Dusty's only got about a dozen in, hasn't he?
yeah. He's been wound down. I don't know what that's for, but why they've suddenly just binned him off.
Yeah, they're bringing back Mohammed Al Zarouni. That's what I heard.
Well, he's been assisted out in the desert, so I mean, it's a case of, can we just bring him back in quietly? Is that it, John? Is it a juice thing? Do you think potentially it could be a juice thing?
Honestly, I don't think it's a juice thing. I think they had a golden 3 or 4 years, which was a deviation from the norm, and I think we're getting back to what their proper form is.
Which, of course, he's still good in maidens and handicaps.
Yeah. I mean, if there weren't a force in that, you'd have to think they were amputating legs and things, wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you just drag somebody off the street to train them to win.
What do you think the Sheikh will be thinking, though? Like, he's had one Group 1 winner in the UK in 2023.
I wouldn't presume to even get inside his head, you know. I mean,
No,
if I was running an organisation like that, hemorrhaging cash, I'd be taking up snooker or something.
it's an extraordinary return, or rather lack of return, isn't it?
Well, you wouldn't do it, would you, if your head was screwed on?
29 bar and you get, what, 100 grand back or something?
So the 41 2-year-olds that are trained would be costing, what, 30 to 40,000 a year?
I mean, if you think that's a viable business model, inside your head, there must be like a parallel universe where Davina McCall's the next fucking Pope.
Yeah, I quite like that. Yes, yeah.
Well, that'd be quite sexy, I think. That's quite horny, that'd be, wouldn't
Little
it?
Miss leave the boots on.
Yeah, kiss the ring. Yeah, kiss the ring, or have a different meaning, wouldn't it? Yeah. What was this? Yeah, I mean, presumably the people employed in that organisation, if they got a shred of decency about them, should be thinking, God, we're shit at our jobs. How can anyone go to work thinking, you know, it's been all right, we're doing...
How many people do you know in racing, Chris, that think they're shit at their jobs?
No one. That's all right.
Why is
yeah,
it only me that admits that, then? I'm having a shit time at the moment. But anyway, we'll come on to that in another section. But we're going to talk Bin Laden family now. With all the world troubles that we're seeing at the moment, good God. We've now got the Bin Laden family buying into horse stock at Tats. Is this, though, for horses to be run in the Middle East, maybe, or is this horse to be horses trained in the UK? I don't know. I've not delved into it very deep, but
they'll be employing inexperienced pilots, I've heard as well. So
those with only 2 or 3 weeks riding experience.
Yeah, the fucking landing bit, we didn't bother with that. More grossly offensive content.
Do you think you'll have a few a few horses that they own crashing through rails and things? You know?
I think they'll be towering over the opposition. That's for sure.
Good God!
Edit that.
No, that's in.
That's in, right?
Yeah, fuck them.
But doesn't that raise a more serious point that racing is prepared to sort of embrace this kind of investment, albeit from a, you know, the Bin Ladens are a huge dynasty. You know, it's there are loads of them, and they're obviously wealthy Saudi construction magnates. So you know they're a huge dynasty. But fucking hell, look at the optics, which racing is so keen to sort of point out. The optics are so important. What are the optics? What are the optics of that?
I mean, hands are thrown up in horror if one gets 8 smacks round the ass, and then you get the fucking family that's behind the biggest fucking mass slaughter in the last 50 years. Yeah. And, come on in, lads, have a cuppa.
John, who's first retained jockey for Bin Ladens?
Jesus Christ.
Who takes it? Let's run a book. Who's the first one that, if they grow their empire and they buy more horse flesh, who's first jockey to be?
You need someone with a super active agent, wouldn't you? Who's not afraid to go where other agents say to tread. So,
quite.
I think we all know where this is going.
Terry and June.
Yeah, we're not hearing names.
They're the jockey version of Terry and June, I think. Right, the Bin Laden family, enter racing. So, like you said, the optics for the BHA. How are the BHA going to deal with the optics of that?
Yeah,
we should be reaching for the optics. Pouring themselves a double out.
BHA would not let me name Fanny Schmeller as a horse. This is a German Olympic downhill skier. It's a disgrace. So the optics weren't right for me to name a horse Fanny Schmeller, but it's okay for the Bin Laden family to buy horses for British horse racing. Terrible. Anyway, it goes with the optics of Sheikh Moani's daughters, etc., all that lot. End of season punting, John and Chris, because you've got skin in the game. What do we think to end of season punting on the flat?
I don't know.
Fucking horrible.
I love the two responses there. John, I don't mind it. Fucking horrible. Yeah. Come on then, John. Tell me why you don't mind end of season flat racing punt.
Because you can still pick which races you bet on. You know? And whereas in the summer, in the height of summer, on a 7-race card, you might find 5 races that you feel are worth a play.
Mm.
I tend to find at this time of year on a card, there's maybe 1 or 2 races that I feel are worth a play and further investigation, shall we say. They tend to be maiden races, but I find that approach quite constructive. Even if I don't dig a bet out, I can make extensive notes on things for next year. And if you get enough of a paddock camera, there's an awful lot of horses you can write off due to the fact that you can see clearly they're going over the top. So
Is there
I don't mind it.
Is there any like specific type of races, John, that you concentrate this time of year? Is it, I mean, I know you love watching your maidens for next year, but like,
It's the maidens I would concentrate on, in all fairness. And it would tend to be as well the longer distance ones, 7 furlongs plus. By the time you get to this stage of the year, the 5 and 6 furlong maidens, they've all run 11 times. They're usually all shit anyway.
yeah, at this time of year, I always look out for Towser and Slim with their maidens because they always send their better types out. I think round about now they don't bother racing them through the summer. It's for next year. It's the better 3-year-olds for next year, and they always seem to come out on the all weather and various tracks about now. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Towser and Slim's are always worth a watch. I think Rafe and Ralph will probably continue their reasonable form into the end of the season, and we'll probably have the Baron having his derby or run fourth at Nottingham as well at the end of October.
Yeah, and carrying on about Towser, he's a Newcastle all-weather man. He tends to send his...
Yes, he doesn't mind sending one up there, does he, that's all right?
No, the good ones tend to go there.
After playing hell about Newcastle, going all weather, he was one of the most vocal opponents.
He was, yeah.
Who never had a runner on the grass at Newcastle.
Exactly.
And now there's an all-weather service, he can't leave it alone.
No, he loves it. He loves that shit.
It's a contradiction, and nobody ever asks him about it. You know why? Because he talks very posh and very clearly, and no one has to contradict anyone with a class advantage like that.
I'm going to invite you to a challenge here, right? Do you reckon, like, if it ever happened, that you could be 30 at tipping point, right? So you're both on sure with Ben. Would you back yourself heavily in a match bet against Slim?
Well, I would, because for 30 to get a go, he'd need to answer a question correctly, wouldn't he?
No, but he will do. I mean, it's a show that you can answer questions correctly. It's
Yeah, you can answer questions correctly, but let's not forget who we're talking about.
I don't know. I think he's got a degree in history of art, though. So
he's not a complete donkey, but he'd be up there with the marzipan dildos as useful stakes, wouldn't he?
I'd love to see that. Barstow's listeners, you would love to see that, wouldn't you? That'd be something that it'd be pay-per-view. It'd be Tyson Fury levels. That
Eddie Hearn
Lane versus 30 on tipping point. That's something we'd like to see.
To win a marzipan dildo, yeah.
Pretty much. I think John would demand a bigger fee than 30 there. Chris, so you on late season punting, how do you find it in general over time?
Horrible. That's horrible, isn't it? It's I don't know. I mean, it just, horses seem to lose their form at this time of year. I think, the horses that have shown form in the summer, I from my personal experience, it's just very inconsistent this time of year. But I do agree that Gosden does tend to wheel out his better ones at this time of year. So, but I think in essence, it's a horrible time for punting.
It is. We're in a period now where I don't want to say this because we're a betting podcast and we're a horse racing podcast, but unless direction of travel changes for end of days for the current form of betting. And the problem with this is it's highlighted by my recent plight where I'm out of form. And I said so on last week's show, it's not really improved that much since. I'm having to downgrade my stakes to civilian level because I'm in fear of depositing. How on earth have we ended here where a full-time gambler that has got money to bet with doesn't want to put money in the system because for fear of I deposited last week to boost the tank. I daren't, if you know what I mean, where it's another one. So this is the thing. It's a terrible problem because, like today, I've played nicely today, but I've won a lot less than I would have won had I been on a good run, because I have to play a completely different way, because they've come for me 3 times. They've come for me on affordability 3 times. And as we've seen, and this is my only bit on affordability, is following on from past episodes where people are losing their accounts right, left, and centre. So obviously, this is my livelihood. It's quite serious. It's not. People don't view it as serious that don't know me, because they won't care. Who would fucking care? No one cares, right? So it's like, if I fuck up, I can't. So it's like 2 worries. I've got to be able to produce, but I've got to be able to make my balance work so that they don't come for me again. If they come for me again, I think that's it. I think, because I'm on the back of a red period where I'm minus. So last time when they came for me, I was on a plus period. So how can I defend myself if I'm sort of like £15,000 down in September, October?
Have you got enough spare to buy an ice cream, Graham?
Well, that's what it's going to come to, isn't it? It's going to be ice creams, Marinelli's, or Mr. Whippy's, or it's going to be.
Do you want a flake in that, sir?
Or it's going to be a good chip shop. But what? It's amazing we have to think like this. So I've been given dilemmas to stay in the game. That's what it is. It's a dilemma I've never had to think about. I've changed my game for the last 3 years, but it's getting worse. Honestly, it is getting worse.
You think the letters on the gambling commission?
They're not interested, John. That's the thing.
Yeah, but couldn't we get a job on that?
We could, because what we could do, we could just say we've suffered gambling harm and basically hopefully get funding. That's the thing. Is life's a grift now, isn't it? Mainstream media journalists, you've got to sit on one side of the fence. So you've got to be either one side or the other. If you sit in the middle, you get no views and no likes. You've got to be totally on the other side or totally on the other side. And that's how life is right now. It's terrible. It's a terrible situation to be in for betting. Talking about fear of missing out bets. Do we ever have any fear of missing out bets? I do. I'll let you into a little secret. So all the bar steward selections, even the ones I don't fucking like. So we do on the Friday pod. Like, you have to sort of cover them, because the sickness factor when John lands one at fucking.
Yeah, you think I don't want that cunt collecting and not me.
Yeah. John's won fucking plenty, and then I've won nothing. It's that. It literally is that for me. It's like, so we can join in the trumpets after. That's it. Yeah. Even though I don't fancy it myself, I have done it. Yes, I do. I have to really not fancy it to not bother. Put it that way, on all bastard selections.
You sort of know one day it is coming where the fucking lot will click.
Yeah.
Then you'd be sick, wouldn't you?
Oh, not many.
It is. Everyone should do like a little pound hacker on them all, because it will happen one day. It's just when that day comes, and you're just waiting.
Yeah, and you can only win 50 grand.
Yeah, they've lowered the limits. You hadn't seen it on. Yeah. They've lowered. Yeah, they fucked you off. Right. So following on, just for mention about problems in worrying about depositing. Following from LNER last weekend, where we mentioned about LNER trains of banned gambling sites, including not just betting sites as in Betfair, but Racing Post, At the Races. Disgraceful, and it's government owned, so that is worrying in its own right, isn't it? Because it's not a private company. It's currently government owned. Viking Cruises have stopped having casinos on their boats, and not just that, though, they're advertising it in their brochures and literature as a positive.
Oh, fuck me. Have you ever been on a cruise round the fjords or up the fucking Rhine? It's only the casino
it's a massive worry, isn't it?
Honestly.
Because they wouldn't say, look at us, we no longer have spa facilities on our ships.
No.
We no longer have a buffet breakfast.
I mean, come on. The old thing about the casino on cruise ships, it was like the man in the tuxedo with the bow tie. He's gone there with a few £100, and he's trying to play it up and win fortunes and make his holiday even more fantastic.
And he's trained out before they go past the Isle of Wight.
Where else are you going to swindle old women out of money if not at the casino table on a ship?
You're going to spot a rich widow there, aren't you, at worst?
Exactly.
Having been on a cruise
God.
recently, it was a celebrity one, which is an American cruise liner.
Right.
The casino was rammed, and I mean rammed. Our board.
Yeah.
I played poker while I was on there, and literally, if you didn't get there, I would say 15 minutes before the game started, you probably won't get a seat.
Well, I mean, what the fucking hell else can you do on a cruise, for God's sake? Play shuffleboard.
Yeah, or listen to Jane
yeah,
McDonald.
this old Jane, isn't it, on Channel 5, you know, like.
Yeah, all right, fucking throw yourself fucking overboard if she turned up, wouldn't you? Fucking hell.
Right, I used to watch it.
Fuck me. You'd want the geezer that did the Costa Concordia as your captain.
Chris, I used to watch her shows,
right?
I used to switch off before she sang, because it's that bad, isn't it? It's that bad.
It's fucking terrible. I mean, that is a classic example of somebody with minimal talent who's carved quite a lucrative career out for herself. She's a very average singer, an annoying personality, and yet she pops up everywhere.
And not funny either.
It's funny he's been born dead with cancer, I think. Dreadful.
Yeah, we agree on that. So Viking Cruises, again, the EU. There's a lot of EU countries that don't promote betting, as we've seen when we go on holiday to EU countries. You often get restricted. You often get restricted when you go to EU countries. Some of them, not all of them, you can't access Betfair. You have to use VPN.
Well, when I have my month in the fjords in February, they can go fuck themselves.
Is that where you're going?
I'm not sure. I haven't decided whether.
He's going on a Viking cruise.
Listen, I know he won't fly because he ain't flying. It's like BA out at 80. I ain't got no plane.
Yeah, I hate flying as well. I'm with you, John.
I ain't got no plane.
You
fuckers.
Honestly.
It'll be the Channel Tunnel and drive across Europe to Putin's Russia, probably in defect.
Meet him at the Brandenburg Gate. The weather is good at this time of year in Innsbruck.
There might be a swap deal between me from this side and two gymnasts coming over.
Fucking Olga Corbett and Nelly Kim for John Leng. Mr. John, it's so good to see you. Kim Philby. You'll be on the banknotes in Russia within a year, John, honestly. Comrade John.
Yeah, absolutely. Last part of the show, the funny bit, if we don't have just fun already, which we have. Mr. Men characters. We touched on this on Friday, and it's hilarious, really, if you think about it. The fun we had as kids reading comparing them to sort of like racing characters, I think it's just like astonishing. We've discussed libel laws this week, Chris, haven't we? And
yes, we have. We've taken advice from learned counsel on that, and we should remain silent, I think.
Mr. Men characters, right. Have you any favourite Mr. Men characters from the past? Mr. Tickle, for example, is one of the all-time favourites. Chris Poole actually says, how fucking amazing to have Mr. Tickle arms where you just fucking can lay in bed and just grab a fucking cup.
I mean, think on this was in the days when Savile was at his peak, and if you had arms that could do that, the ratings on the
wall.
I've read some funny memes. Mr. Happy, who's got the biggest smile ever, is turned into Mr. Smug Bastard. It's astonishingly. If you looked at Mr. Men characters, is there anyone in racing you could compare?
Well, you could have Mr. Bump as Decky Johnson, couldn't you?
Yeah, I was thinking that actually. Yeah, good call. Yeah. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
He falls out of bed, poor cunt, doesn't he?
Frankie as Mr. Snur.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ouch. Yeah, all right, leave that one. Again, I distance myself from any of those remarks, implied or otherwise. Dave Yates, Mr. Nosing.
It is,
always
that is Dave Yates
when
paddock, isn't it? Mr. Nosing, yeah. Mr. Sneeze, Benoit after his night out the night before.
Yeah, Colombian cold. We've all been there.
Yeah. Mr. Daydream, who could that be?
Kevin Stock now, he's got plenty of time on his hands. Don't know.
Mr. what?
Mr. Jelly.
Mr. Jelly. I remember him. Yeah, Mr. Jelly was excellent, wasn't he? And it was never the same since when Arthur Lowe died, when he used to narrate them.
Right, the description is Mr. Jelly, at the slightest thing, he would quiver and tremble and shake and turn into jelly. Who would that be? That'd be Zach Wheatley?
Jack Mitchell.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Mr. Noisy. Matt Chapman?
All day long.
Yeah, definitely.
Mr. Mean.
Lester.
Fucking it. Well, there's fucking no shortage of candidates there, aren't there? Fucking hell, there's an audition for that.
Mr. Fussy.
Nicky Anderson, the ground's never right, is it?
That's true, yeah.
The latest thing in the Racing Purse, the article, they asked him about Constitution Hill, and he goes, "Oh, the naughty side of me might decide to go for the Gold Cup." I mean, yeah, right,
God.
yeah, be three runs all season and wrapped in cotton wool. Mr. Bounce, John.
You're in Jockey territory again, aren't you? Who else is shit getting all over the fences? And Dusty Bin Silver, because they're off ages, they run well, and then they bounce.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Mr. Grumpy.
Oh, fucking hell. Probably me.
Right.
Mr. Grumpy has a shocking bad temper.
It is me.
By name, and even more grumpy by nature. The kilt?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's got plenty to be grumpy about, hasn't he?
Mr. Nonsense.
That's everyone.
That would be most of the time farm boys that end up on Racing TV, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Reading aloud from the race car.
Mr. Uppity, John Gosden.
Yeah.
Mr. Wrong. Unbelievable. Yeah,
we're really wrong. We're wrong for racing.
Yeah.
Mr. Cool.
Who's the coolest person in racing? It's a good question, isn't it?
Bob Baffert. I think Bob Baffert's the coolest.
He's a cool customer, isn't he? Because, I mean, he's still be long gone and he's still fronting it out there.
Well, he's had more legal subpoenas than Trump.
They've all ended up at Dwayne Lucas's, though, haven't they?
And there's no sweat on his face, and his silver locks keep flowing.
Great sunglasses and a cool suit. Well, what's not to like?
As a result of this, Dwayne Lucas hasn't eaten a square meal for 6 years.
Right, Mr. Root.
Ryan Moore.
That's actually very good.
Whichever one it is, he's straight from Freemason Lodge, isn't he?
It can either be Ryan Moore or Stout, can't it?
Yeah, either.
I mean, Stout's a massive. Yeah. Stout, to interview Stout and do it well. In fact, that'd be one of my lifetime ambitions. If I could say it now, I would love to interview Stout and do it well. But I don't think I could, because I think he'd be really difficult and I won't be able to do it. But that'd be my ambition.
He'll be on phone enough for him to come on.
That's my life. To be honest, he's a legendary trainer, and that would be. Oh God, if that could happen.
You can't even write the Jim will fix it anymore asking for that, can you? I mean, what's the world coming to?
Stout doesn't suffer fools, and this is it. We're fools. And
I wrote to Jim will fix it. I wanted to milk a cow blindfolded.
That was the start of all the
final
trouble.
One, then, Mr. Nobody.
You'd expect to say something awful about somebody here, wouldn't you? So, hello, Andrew Rhodes.
Mr. Nobody. Like, if you look at his picture on the Mr. Men front book, he's like got no. He's kind of sad. He's got no. There's no colour to him. There's no nothing. I mean, if you're saying in that way,
there wasn't a casino on his cruise, see?
No, he had to drive across Europe to get to it as well. How awful. Holland or
Mr. Nobody, everyone on Viking Cruises can't shove a ball round a roulette wheel to entertain themselves.
Fucking Jane McDonald singing every night. Christ, and Norway. What could be worse? Norwegian cuisine, no casino, and Jane McDonald. Fucking hell.
Jane McDonald singing and no casino. It's the worst cruise imaginable.
Yeah.
Cured fish and a lukewarm buffet.
Just herrings to eat. Yeah, just herrings to eat.
Yeah, roll mops. Dreadful.
What a fucking sea lion.
That's it. That's the last topic. So we're going to finish on a high. Brilliant. John, Chris, as always, fantastic. Cheers me at no end, and I'm sure it helps lots of others as well get through the mundane week that the racing world offers. That's all from us. We're back on Patreon. If you're a subscriber on Thursday, covering the Phillies Mile Day on Friday, the normal Friday show covering Saturday, and as always, me, John and Chris, back next Sunday to talk absolute crap. Yes, again, but it's always fun to do. Bye for now.